I feel like this is a Groundhog Day. It takes me back to 1970. I'm living again the experience that we had in the early 1970s, when there was a huge housing problem. Going back to what we thought about in the 60s and early 70s, about local people making provision of local housing, that has got to come back, and that's the way it has to be done. In those early days, there were small groups of very dedicated people. I'm thinking in Colchester of Bernard Brett, who set up a small housing association to serve the local people who had a particular need. And it was very successful. Cone developed well. We had a very good local relationship in those days with Colchester Borough Council, Malden District Council and tendering. But I tend to feel that the localism of provision has disappeared. What I think is important for the future is that we provide local homes for local people. We've got to go back to those principles. And I've got certain views as to how that might happen, which has developed over the last 2 or 3 years, that we've got to revert to localism. I support entirely the coalition government's provision for localism, and I think we've got to develop on that. The other essential part is the coalition government brought through very important legislation in the Care Act of 2014, where we must get cooperation on housing for vulnerable people, especially older people and people with learning disabilities, work together with the social care departments of county councils and those authorities, and also work very closely with the NHS. Well, Cone currently has a role in managing almshouses. You know, going back to my thoughts about these huge housing associations, nobody knows who's behind them. But with almshouse charities, the local trustees who run them know the residents. And there's an easy correlation between the two. And Cone, as a locally based housing association, has the same ethos of knowing its residents and working with them easily. In construction, we need to have new construction, and we need to have almshouses which are homes for life. I mean, it appears to me that government's policy now is strictly based on providing funds for housing to buy. We must not forget the needs that, you know, probably 15% of the population who will never, ever be able to afford to buy.